It's a steep mountain. It's the complete whiteout. There's snow everywhere. It's icy. Are you kidding me? Gets easier. So it's September 3rd. It's the day before opening day of archery elk season here in Montana. Always a highlight hunt of the year. This is the mountain I grew up hunting on. So every year I come back and, take this big old pack up the mountain. We were here a week ago and actually did a little bit of scouting. And, there's not a lot of elk in the area right now. There's a few. We saw some sign and some tracks and a couple rubs, but no talking. And so we don't know. It's fairly warm today. It's in the 70s, so we aren't quite sure what we're going to get into up here. But we're going to take our time and get up the mountain this afternoon and set up camp. And then we're going to be right at the top of the mountain come daylight. So we got 3 different canyons to hunt while we're up there, and we're just going to take our time and see if we can pick up a herd of elk. So the climb never gets easier, but here we go. Many of you know how special this mountain is to me, having grown up hunting here my whole life. That season, I got to introduce my girlfriend to the mountain while taking her on her very first archery elk hunt.
Hello, I'm Ozzy Dahlman. I'm from Great Falls, Montana. So I was born and raised in Montana, grew up in a few small towns in the Rockies, and then graduated from Sunburst. Hunting was always a major part of our family. We ate a lot of venison, we fished. I didn't get into hunting so much, but my family did, and we were pretty much raised on that. I met Erin a little over a year ago, and we spent a lot of time outdoors hiking and exploring. I learned a lot more about his hunting experiences, and I got pretty excited about it. That fall, Erin invited me to go along with him on an archery elk hunt. I was thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to follow him around and see what it's all about.
It's a steep mountain, but it's worth it, We talk about it every year, the first couple climbs. It's tough every year, but it's a beautiful spot. And sometimes you just got to go to some kind of nasty places back in the backcountry, away from people, where these elk are going to be, and that's what we're doing. So, but it doesn't get any easier the older we get, but still worth it. It's going to be a beautiful night up here on the mountain, and we're going to take our time and, make it up to camp.
So the morning of this hunt, I had no idea what I was in for. We started up the mountain and the terrain was very steep. There was deadfall, there was brush. We were climbing over it, under it, around it. There were rocks. We had to go sideways, we had to go straight up, we had to climb on our hands and knees for part of it. Just getting to the top to get started, that itself was an achievement.
So, made it to the top of the ridge, basically. It was about a 2-hour climb. The nice thing is we've seen some new elk tracks since last week and some new sign. Still haven't heard any bugling or anything, but that's not, atypical. Sometimes early season they are pretty quiet, but they're here. You know, we've seen some signs, so we're just resting our legs here for a few minutes. It's one of my favorite spots on the mountain to kind of unwind and dry the sweat a little bit. And then we're going to make it up to camp. It's probably about another half an hour, kind of a gradual climb. And we have plenty of daylight. We have a couple hours, so we're going to have plenty of time to get up there, get our camp set up, have dinner, and man, there's nothing like opening day. Ozzy and I finally made it to the top of the mountain that evening. We got our camp set up, we cooked some dinner, and watched the sun go down in anticipation of the season starting the next day. Giving Back is brought to you by Hammer Bullets, True Flight Adventures, Hunt Tech Pro, Kifaru International, Kenetrek Boots, Canadi Elite Taxidermy Studio. Well, made it through the night. We got up here last night, got camp set up, had a nice hike up. Actually had time to go off the north side of the mountain last night and do some scouting, but man, it's quiet up here. We didn't hear a bugle, but you know, we saw a herd of elk on the other side, but it was they were down low on some private land. So it's an area we can't hunt, but we're gonna go down the timber today and just see if we can pick up any elk. Had a pretty good night's sleep. Well, as good as you can get on the ground, I guess, but feel pretty good. Had some breakfast, had some coffee, so we're just gonna be going through the timber today and looking for elk. So opening day is here. So we made it down the mountain to a spot that the elk like to cross at. We've been here a little over an hour, been doing some calling and just kind of being patient, but we haven't heard anything. So not sure if there's any elk in this canyon right now. So we're gonna move to another canyon. It's not very far away, actually. We're pretty close to the ridge line. We're gonna hit the ridge, work our way down to another saddle, and spend a few hours and just kind of see if there's any elk moving. Unfortunately, sometimes early season it gets really slow up here, and it's pretty boring. So I know a lot of TV shows, they show constant elk action. That's not the way it is in the backcountry. There's a lot of slow moments up here. So we're just going to keep moving, calling, and hopefully we'll pick up a bull or a herd. Ozzy and I worked that entire mountain that day, walking from ridge to ridge, going from canyon to canyon. We called, we glassed, we tried it all. But it was a very, very slow day on the mountain. There's days like this. We just made it back to camp just a couple of minutes ago, and man, it was a slow day on the mountain. We've been gone for, I don't know, 11 hours, I guess, 11 and a half. We spooked a bull right down below camp here, about half a mile. He winded us. We didn't get eyes on him, he just crashed out, and we did see a spike mule deer buck up here, but that was it. It was a slow day, no bugling, no cow calling, nothing. So We're exhausted tonight, so we're back at camp a little early. There's about an hour daylight left, and we're just gonna call it a day. We're gonna change some clothes and eat some dinner, and we'll be after it tomorrow. But this is a typical day in elk camp, or on the mountain in the backcountry. You have days like this, so but a beautiful day. You got to take the little victories, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
The first few times we went up, Erin and I did see some elk. We heard them. The timber was so thick, it was really hard to get a good look at them, and we certainly couldn't get a shot at them. But it was so neat to be out there, to hear the bugling, to see the environment that you have to go through to find them, and just to learn what it's like to stalk the elk.
Well, I hope everybody can hear me. It's super windy up here. I didn't put my microphone on, but got back to camp this afternoon, and we have had a visitor. It looks like a bear came through. Check this out. Shredded the rain fly. I opened this up so I could get in the tent. Shredded a sleeping pad. Dang, I guess when you're in bear country, this stuff happens. So it's changing my plans. I'm obviously not staying on the mountain tonight, so yeah, a little frustrating. Glad nobody was in the tent when the bear came through. I haven't seen any sign. I don't know what kind of bear it was. I'm guessing black bear in the area I'm hunting, but you just never know. So yeah, always be careful in bear country. Guess I need a new camp. So, came back up today and hiked up this morning, kind of stayed on the south side. There wasn't any activity. Coming down the north side, we've seen tracks and sign, and I came to a spot where I like to set up, and I looked down and there was a 5-point bedded 60 yards away. He milled around. I could have shot, but it was a marginal shot, and so I elected to not take that shot. He worked his way around to the cow call, and then he smelled us and he took off. But there's another bull below him bugling, so we're gonna hang in this canyon probably all day. The elk are moving through here, so pretty cool. 10 minutes into hunting, we see a 5 point, so it's already been a good day.
So one morning we went out hunting, and the weather was supposed to be really good that day, so we were pretty excited and very hopeful. We went down the other side of the mountain, and within a couple of hours we were in a torrential snowstorm.
Well, as you can see, the mountain is kind of dictating what we do today, and we have to leave. It's just getting worse. We thought it was going to be a little bit of maybe a couple rain showers, but it's a complete whiteout. There's snow everywhere. It's icy, and we had to get off the mountain anyway tonight. So the elk have kind of shut up for the day. So man, I tell you what, it just changes up here so quickly. So our elk hunt got cut way short this trip, but you know, we'll get home, dry up, and see what happens next.
Needless to say, it kind of cut our hunting short that day as we had to get off the mountain. And as I said earlier, the mountain is treacherous. It took us a while, especially in the snow with that steep terrain, and everything was slippery. But we did finally make it down.
So we came up today and it's been dead. We haven't heard anything, seen anything. Finally, we picked up a bull right below us. We're running out of daylight. We only have about 90 minutes left, but he's really talking. So we're gonna get down in there and just see if we can get him to come up to us. He's really talking a lot. So it's the most action we've had this year. So we're gonna go down and see if we can get him to play a little bit.
So one Saturday morning we went out and we decided to go and look for some elk. It had been really slow each time we'd gone up before. We weren't super hopeful. It was kind of warm out, but we got up to the top, climbed down the other side, went to a couple different canyons. We sat, we waited, we called. It was pretty dead. There wasn't much going on at all. So we decided, well, we'd wait and see what happened. About 5 o'clock, Erin said, you know, let's just try one more call, see what happens, and let's hike back up the hill and get to camp. So he did. He made one more cow call, and it got answered. Way at the bottom, there was an elk who answered. Erin called again, elk answered again. We got pretty excited because the second answer was closer to us. So we knew that elk was on its way. Erin threw the camera to me. My adrenaline was pumping. I had never filmed anything like this before, and we had to be quiet and get down closer to where the elk was. So he called, he kept calling, the elk kept answering. It was really thrilling for me. We got down closer and then we stopped because we knew the elk was coming to us.
He's not far, but there's a good little bull between us and him. And I've heard a couple cows, so he's got a herd with him. But he's answering the cow calls a lot, so we're gonna go see if we can have some fun. For those of you who've been in this scenario, you know how intense these moments are. This was Ozzy's first time being this close to a bugling bull elk. This young lady has no prior filming experience, and given the circumstances, she did a fantastic job capturing this encounter on film. Coming right to our ship. He's probably 40 yards from us. He's coming. See the horse? He's right in front of us. He's a big booger. Are you kidding me? Oh, wow. We heard this bull below us, and I told her that I'm shaking, she's shaking, it's all good. We called this bull up from the bottom and he walked right to us. I only had a head-on shot, which I don't like, but my pin was perfectly on his chest. That bull was down in less than 10 seconds, and he's a big bull. Oh my God. I never take this stuff for granted. He's dead, but we're gonna give him a minute. Wow. Thank you. So that bull was standing right here. There's blood right where he was standing. I hit him perfect. He ran like 15 yards and died. It never happens like this. We got lucky. It doesn't happen like this very often. We had no activity today whatsoever. It was dead. And I finally blew a cow call about 5:30. And we heard him, but I didn't think we had enough light to get to him. But he kept coming. So we got down here, called him right to me, 20 yards head on. We think we got the shot on camera. We'll know later, we don't know now, but it doesn't matter. He actually ran uphill. And here he is, beautiful bull. Now the work begins. You know, so you can see here, he was facing me. He was quartering a little bit, and I hit him perfect. There's just bubbles coming out of him. I mean, that's when you get a good shot on an elk. They go down very quickly. Feel super, super lucky. Oh. There he is. With this little point, and these two little ones back here, he's technically a 6x7, but he's not a record bull, but he's my bull. So, wow. So, we got the elk cut up, and obviously you can see it's dark out, but it's a beautiful night. We're only about 100 yards from camp. I got a hind quarter on. We got the two front quarters, the back straps there. Unfortunately, we cut into the second hind quarter and it was full of gangrene. I mean, it stunk horribly. So unfortunately, none of the meat's good. We checked it out. I took a bunch of pictures to show the game warden, but that's kind of a bummer. You know, you hunt so hard all year to get all that meat and whole hind quarter's gone. But you know, that happens. I don't know if another bull got him or we aren't sure what happens, but it was disgusting. So anyway, we're gonna get this hind quarter back to camp tonight. Spend the night. In the morning we'll come down, get the two fronts back to camp, go down, get the head back to camp, and then we got some people coming in to help. So it's gonna be a long 36 hours.
So this archery season was quite an experience for me. I did not know what I was in for with the treacherous terrain on the mountain, out going into different canyons, calling for elk, not seeing much, seeing a little bit of other wildlife, and camping up on the mountain, the bear eating our tent. We had to go shopping again for that. And then the adrenaline when that elk came up and came so close to us, and the perfect shot Erin made, and all the work to get the elk out of there and off of the mountain. It was absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait until next archery season.
Never gets easier. It's our last load to get to the top, and then I got help. Whew, it's gonna be a long day. The mountain really threw some curveballs at us that season. We had weather issues, the bear ruined our camp, we had very slow days, but luckily in the end, Ozzy and I had our bull down. That moment was special for both of us, and the emotion of the entire season came out. The next day, my brother Reed and my nephew Archer were nice enough to come up and help us get this elk off the mountain. It's these times that you can reflect and see just how special these moments truly are. And yes, I never take them for granted. Thank you for watching this week. We'll see you next week on Giving Back.